Groundbreaking new study, guys, for Campi Flegrei, the supervolcano in Naples, Italy. The hidden energy behind the earthquakes that are taking place there. And behind that sentence, it's not what you think, guys. The new study reveals something that is highly important to understand what's coming. I looked for you at this very important scientific new study, and I'm trying to explain it to you so that it's quick and easy to understand. The study focuses on the earthquakes that are happening under the caldera during this ongoing land rise and the unrest, the volcanic unrest that comes with it. But it's not about measuring the size of the earthquakes and stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy. Boom, another study that is so important, basically like every day. I just released my video about the evacuation rehearsal and was asking the question, is that going to work? That video is in the end screen. And in light of that, this was just taking place today, that volcanic eruption rehearsal. And now this study. It's about how earthquakes release energy inside a volcanic system and what that means for the eruption risk. And that is highly important for such a densely populated volcano. The director of the Vesuvius Observatory once said, we're living on top of the world's most dangerous volcano, and especially because it's so highly densely populated with over 500,000 people in the red zone. Key question: are these earthquakes preparing the system for a large break? Well, if it's breaking, boof, right? Or are they actually preventing one? That would be good, right? So this study gives us important new clues, guys. So stay with me. And if you can, do me a favor, give this video an early like and a hype. And if you can, subscribe and share it with your friends. So what did this study do? The earthquakes that are happening right now are not normal earthquakes. They are slow and they are wasteful. Don't understand this the wrong way. Don't think about, oh, a wasteful earthquake like we've just seen in Turkey with all these homes collapsing. That's not what I mean, or what the study means with wasteful. They break the rocks, the caprock layer that keeps the lid on the volcano. They break the rocks in a way that may control the future of Campi Flegrei, of the supervolcano itself. And the study helps answer the question that everyone is asking, that we're all asking. Is Campi Flegrei moving closer to eruption, or is the ground adjusting itself slowly? Let's break this down in a simple explanation. The scientists studied 56 significant earthquakes between 2020 and 2025. Unfortunately, 2025 is crazy already with that many earthquakes above magnitude 4. Here's the list, including 2 magnitudes 4.6, the largest ever. Unfortunately, their study does not include the 2 4.6 yet. Their largest one is 4.4. But anyways, it doesn't really hurt what they found, guys. And we're looking at the quakes that happened right where the ground is rising the most, underneath Pozzuoli. They have measured the speed of each rupture with every earthquake, how much stress was released with each earthquake, and how much energy has turned into actual shaking. And now it's getting interesting, guys, really interesting. Because what they discovered was very surprising. The earthquakes here at Campi Flegrei are slow. Slow. What does that mean? Normally, when a fault breaks during an earthquake, right? When rocks are breaking, the rupture spreads fast. It's like a crack that's rippling through a glass. It goes like, right? But not under Campi Flegrei. So rocks have a breaking speed if you break rocks, and that's what it does, right? Ruptures spread at only 40% to 90% of the normal rock breaking speed. We might think, that's good. They're not breaking fast. Does that prevent an eruption? Sorry, guys. It's different. Listen to me. This means the rock is actually not strong. Why is it not strong? It's hot, it's altered, and it's already fractured, and it's pressurized by volcanic gases. Now this doesn't sound so good, right? So even when earthquakes happen, the rock gives way slowly. That sounds good again, right? It absorbs the energy instead of snapping violently, because it's like a little bit spongy sort of thing. Okay, snapping violently is always bad because it creates bad earthquakes, right? But yes, that is a good thing. I'll get to that somewhat. But on the other hand, when it comes to the volcano, it's not a good thing. And that's the bad news, because the volcano is more dangerous than the earthquakes. Let's have a look at figure 1 here. This is where the earthquakes happen. So exactly above the rising gas reservoir. Most earthquakes are shallow, only at a depth of 1 to 4 kilometers. And this is the fractured caprock layer that keeps the lid on this, that sits above the magma and gas system, above the plumbing system of the volcano. And this is the zone that is breaking. We've had many studies in the past 2 years where I reported about that, where they also said, the caprock layer has only a third of its strength left when we had that magma intrusion in the 1980s, where thankfully it didn't come to the surface. But now it's weaker, and they found even more Achilles heels. Check my playlist, study by study. They find that it's weaker. So this is the zone that is breaking. Of course, if the land is rising, it breaks the rocks, makes it all more brittle. So I want you to understand in this graphic the location, but also the mechanism that is behind it. So we know now the earthquakes somewhat waste their energy. And this is perhaps the most important discovery. And I'm telling you why right now. Because only about 10% of the earthquake's energy that is happening at Campi Flegrei becomes seismic shaking. The other 90% is lost in the ground. So where does this energy go? It has to go somewhere. It goes into heat, friction, and breaking rocks around the fault in that caprock layer. And this is called rock damage or off-fault damage. So think of this like this. The rocks are not just sliding, they're being chewed apart from the inside. The lid of the pressure cooker is being chewed apart from the inside. That damage is weakening the crust. I want you to look at another figure here, figure 5, the radiation efficiency. Here we see how much energy is actually radiated as actual shaking. The median is around 0.1. That means 10% only becomes like a vibration. The rest, as I said, is lost as heat and fracturing. This graphic shows you this is a signature of a weak and damaged crust. And this is extremely unusual for these earthquakes. Non-volcanic earthquakes do not show this almost at all. What does this mean for the potential earthquake size at Campi Flegrei? Because so much energy is being wasted, the ruptures cannot grow long. So they stop before they become larger earthquakes. So we won't see, hopefully, a magnitude 6 or 7 or something like that at Campi Flegrei. So this explains why even at these peak unrest periods, the largest earthquake was only, in the study they say 4.4. Now we know 4.6, right? But we also know a magnitude 5 could do so much damage to these homes. So basically, why do we not see a larger earthquake? Because the crust is too weak to support a larger earthquake. The rocks are too brittle and soft. If two strong rocks are breaking, this creates a bigger earthquake. So in simpler terms, the volcano is breaking the rock slowly and continuously instead of all at once. So is this good or bad news? In between, I would say, but it is important, and I tell you why. I want you to look at the next figure here. Here we see that as the magnitude increases, the slip increases, but the rupture size does not scale normally. So something is stopping these ruptures from expanding, and that something is the damage and the gas pressure in the rock itself. So what does that mean for the eruption risk of Campi Flegrei? That's the most important takeaway from this studies, and that's what I know, what you guys care about. So this study suggests the crust is weakening over time. The earthquakes are breaking and softening the caprock. This makes the ground easier to deform. So this does not mean an eruption is imminent, but it does mean the system is evolving towards one, because a weakened caprock layer can allow more uplift with less pressure. Less pressure is needed. Gas to mitigate more easily. Faults to activate more frequently. Over time, this may allow gas escape without eruption, good pressure release, or gas accumulation until the caprock fails, eruption trigger. Both scenarios are possible. The direction depends on future gas input from below. If gas inflow continues and the caprock keeps weakening and the gas flow is continuing and increasing, we've seen the charts, we've seen the last bulletin, the fumaroles are getting hotter, the land rise has accelerated, we see more earthquakes. So if this gas inflow continues and the caprock keeps weakening, the study says, quote, the system becomes more like a pressure cooker with thinning walls. And that is the real risk. And if you're watching my channel on a regular basis, if you add all the other studies, what they found in addition to that earthquakes are lining up along a fault line that makes the system even weaker, that there's a vertical crack 1 kilometer length that they found that could give an easier way for magma to come to the surface, that they found in another study that a deeper lying magma reservoir is reconnecting with the surface, and so on, yada, 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 blah, blah. Check my playlist about Campi Flegrei. This risk is real. Practical takeaway for me from this study, the study does not predict a time or a size of an eruption. That is unfortunately not possible. We don't know enough about this system, but it tells us that the mechanism that is now underway, that is currently happening, and this is a piece of the puzzle with all the other studies that add up together. We know now, and the study confirms this, the crust is being damaged. The earthquakes are controlled by fluids and weak rock. The caprock is losing mechanical strength. This is, let's make this clear, this is how volcanoes prepare pathways for future magma rise. Yes, this can happen earlier or later, can continue for more years, can continue for decades before an eruption. Best case scenario, it could stabilize if the gas supply slows. But also if the gas supply slows, maybe it's clogged somewhere down there. We just simply don't know. but we're learning piece by piece how dangerous this volcano is. So according to the study, for what they found, the scientists need to monitor very closely the deep gas input rate, the rate or the uplift, the change in earthquake frequency. And all three things right now, the curves like this. So Campi Flegrei is telling us something important right now. The roof of the volcano is weakening. It's the kind of change that does not make headlines in one day. It's the kind that matters over time. When that time is, it's hard to say, but how it's developing right now, the chances are in a possibility that it could happen at any time, at least a phreatic eruption. This is also what the seasoned scientists at the INGV are telling us, what they're warning about. And today's volcanic eruption evacuation rehearsal finally admits that and tries to react to that. But there's so many calls from scientists that want to evacuate, are begging basically, please at least evacuate a radius of 2 kilometers around Pozzuoli, where the epicenter will probably be of a very strong earthquake, of an eruption. So we will have to wait and see, guys. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and hype and look at the video on the end screen many of you have been waiting for. There's news about Blatten. There's news about 3i Atlas coming from top. And of course, a lot of volcanic stuff. So subscribe, click on my start page on videos, and then binge watch it, ideally. And click here so that I see you in a second. Bye-bye.